Welcome back for another installment of stupid things I put on the internet. Today, we're going to be going over the Haley Strategic D3 Belt. I have the V1. I've had the V1 for a little bit over a year, probably close to 2 years at this point. I think like a year and a half. You've probably seen it in some videos. This is pretty much my main belt. This is the belt that I've used quite a bit. It's changed a couple of times. And honestly, I've liked this belt. This belt I did kind of a comparison to with my Blue Alpha Gear belt. I didn't know that they came out with a V2, and I acquired this from a friend. This belt I bought with my own money. This I got from a friend, and I guess to be upfront, I have no affiliation with Haley Strategic. Never talked to them, never met anybody from Haley Strategic, so I mean, they're not paying me to make this video, definitely, but I kind of wanted to go over the comparison of these two and see what the differences are. I tried setting them up as similar as I could with what I had. So with this belt here, you know, got your holsters. This one I have a med pouch, dump pouch, and then I got a couple HSG tacos here. This one I set up kind of how I normally set up a belt: 2 pistol, 1 rifle, and then I'm running a different dump pouch. This one has an Edgar Sherman, this one has a Flatline Fiberco, and then I don't have a med pouch because I just didn't have an extra med pouch. Now, first thing I will say is the rigidity of these belts is completely different. You can see this one here has quite a bit on them. These are empty mags, and it definitely is not very structurally sound, if you want to call it that. It's a little floppy. There's mostly because of the nylon used up here. There's just not a whole lot of rigidity and structure to this. Stay. Now for the new belt, there is a lot more structure because they are actually using I believe this is thermoplastic. It's not Tegris or anything. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of polymer, but this goes through the entire belt and also goes into the other side of the belt to give it a little bit more structure. Now you could argue that there's really no weight on this belt, and this belt's got a lot more weight on it. If I take my Glock 45 though, to me that belt is still a lot more structurally sound than the V1. Now, in talking about the structure, this belt is also a tad bit thinner than the V1. The V1 is using, I believe, the nylon, and then it has sewn on moly to the outside. This one is just a little bit thinner in my opinion. It's using that plastic, and then it's wrapping the nylon around that plastic, and it has the laser cut moly here. Personally, I don't use moly. I used moly a little bit when I first got this belt, but for the most part I used 1 wrap. I hate moly when it comes to belts, and unless I have to use it, I'm not going to. I'll use it on something like plate carriers and chest rigs and all that stuff, but for belts, personally, I try and stay away from moly. My fingers are already destroyed as it is, so trying to weave that stuff through, I'm gonna save my fingers and hands as much as I can. And 1 wrap, I change so much stuff every now and then to mess around with different configurations, different looks, all that different stuff, and 1 wrap is just a lot easier to move around, especially when setting up a belt. I don't want to weave it all the way through, try on the belt, don't like it, I gotta take it out, weave it again. At least with 1 wrap, I can just unwrap it, put it all together. Now, I don't have a lot of time with this belt. I've taken it out a couple of times, and I've seen that the structure of it is a little bit better than the original version. Now, the structure of these belts, like I said earlier, is vastly different. This one seems to move with the body a little bit more. This one seems a lot more rigid. It's kind of personal preference there. Do you want something that's gonna move a lot more with your body, or do you want something that's kind of more duty-ish? Personally, I don't really care. When I did the tactical games, I probably would have cared a little bit more, but really it's personal preference. For hot spots or anything, I didn't really notice anything just yet on the V2. I have just been using the original inner belt that came with my V1. I believe they have since changed the inner belt for the V2, and I believe they have two different inner belts. One with a G-hook, one that is a Velcro similar system to the older style. The buckles have definitely changed. On the original, you have this big Cobra buckle here, and to adjust the actual buckle, it is a strap on the inside here that actually Velcros to the inside. Unvelcro that, change your sizing, Velcro it back down. For the newer version, they actually have a D-ring here. No idea what the rating on that is for weight or anything. And then they have a smaller Cobra buckle here, and they have a new way to change the sizing. You have your extra little nylon here with Velcro, so you can Velcro that down, and then they have their snake bite system here that you just pop that off, change your sizing, pop it back on, and you should be good to go. Personally, I kind of like the smaller buckle, not so much just because of the newer belt, but I kind of just like the smaller buckle in general. The D-ring itself, like I said, I don't know if it's rated for anything or what it's rated for. I don't really use D-rings that much. I don't necessarily have a use for them. I guess maybe I could put gloves or something there, but I have not messed around with that yet. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this video is kind of pointless to make, because as far as I know, you cannot buy the V1 on Haley's website. You might be able to find it in some other places that maybe still have some leftover stock. But as far as Haley's actual website, the D3 in the V2 is the only one you can get. Now, I believe when I bought this belt, it came with the inner belt. This belt over here, you actually can kind of, I guess, customize it however you want. You can get, it's got a whole list of different things that you can add as far as the mag pouches and all that different stuff, and then the inner belt as well. So personally, if you have an inner belt that you're using, you like, and you just want to get the actual outer belt itself, you have that option. Now, some of you out there might still have the V1, and maybe you're thinking about upgrading to the V2. Is it an actual viable upgrade? Well, to me, that's more of a personal preference conversation. If this is working for you, you have no issues with it, it does what you need it to do, I would say stick with the V1. If you're needing something that's a little bit more rigid, you want something a little bit more kind of minimalistic, slimmer style, then I would say pick up the V2, stick with your old inner belt like I did, and I think you'll be good to go. If you want a different belt, their newer belts seem a little bit slimmer and then also have a little bit more padding, while also being thinner than the original inner belt. Personally, I kind of like the older inner belt. To me, it does have some padding. When you add this with the older style belt, though, it does get a little bulky on the sides. With the new V2, it is a little bit slimmer, but I like the inner belt because I can do this. I can ball it up and put it wherever I need to, and it works for me. The newer ones, I believe, are kind of like almost all the other inner belts on the market. They're gonna take up a little bit more space. Maybe you can fold them down a little bit, but I don't have anything similar to the new inner belt to mess around with and kind of compare that to. But that is really these two belts compared. I can kind of go over what I have on these, so maybe you can get a little bit more knowledge on your setup and kind of get a comparison. Really, like I said on this one, I'm running two HSG Taco double pistol pouches. I'm running the stacked rifle pouch, and then on this belt specifically, I have the True North and Axle True North holster adapter, and then I have my high-speed gear holster on this one. I kind of flip-flop back and forth between either the high-speed gear or my Safariland. This one I just threw on double pistol Kiwis, single rifle, and again the Flatline Fiber Co. dump pouch, and then I have another True North Concepts holster drop here. Personally, I don't really run the Safariland leg drops. I'm not the biggest fan of them, and True North is a friend of the channel, so they've sent me a couple of things. I bought a couple of them, and personally, I like the True North ones. Speaking of True North, go down into the link in the description that will lead you to my affiliates page on my website, and that you can go check out a couple of the companies that are not only friends of the channel, but also some of them are affiliates, help you save some money and help support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. But for the most part, that is these two belts. To me, the biggest difference between them is the rigidity and the size profile of the two belts. So if you have any comments or questions about either of these belts, let me know down in the comments and I will see if I can get those answered for you. I thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.